I didn't plan to speak about this. In fact, for years, I was one never to talk about it because there is one thing in the kingdom of darkness fear more than prayers, more than fasting, more than midnight cries. It is exposure, not random exposure, not accusations, but exposure triggered by scripture. There are psalms that don't just fight demons, they don't just block arrows, they don't just protect you, they identify. They force the person working against you to appear, sometimes in dreams, sometimes through strange behavior, sometimes through sudden separation, sometimes through confession, sometimes through disgrace. I know this because I was one of the people sent to operate without being known. And many times, the only reason I was exposed was because the victim touched the wrong psalm. Let me start from the beginning. When people hear witchcraft, they imagine shrines, candles, or strangers in the night. But most assignments don't come from strangers. They come from family members, friends, church associates, colleagues, people who smile with you. Our greatest advantage was anonymity. As long as you didn't know who was fighting you, you would fight the wrong direction, accuse innocent people, grow tired, give up, or blame yourself. We preferred victims who prayed generally, not scripturally. Because when someone begins to pray the right psalms, something changes. Let me explain. Psalm 64, the psalm that exposes secret attackers. This psalm destroyed more of our assignments than any deliverance sessions. Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked. This psalm is dangerous because it targets secrecy. There was a woman named Nomza. She was attacked by three people: her cousin, her church friend, and me. She never suspected any of us. Every attack succeeded until one night she began reading Psalm 64 every night before sleeping, not shouting it, not dramatizing it, just reading it slowly. On the fifth night, something changed. We couldn't enter her dream anymore. Instead, she began to enter our dreams. She saw us standing together, not fighting her, just standing. She woke up confused but alert. Within 2 weeks, the cousin exposed herself through anger. The church friend suddenly avoided her, and I was reassigned. Psalm 64 does this. It collapses secret meetings. When this psalm is active, people who agreed to harm you cannot remain coordinated. Psalm 35, the psalm that forces confrontation. This psalm is feared because it doesn't just expose quietly, it creates conflict. Contend, O Lord, with those who contend with me. When this psalm is prayed consistently, the bewitcher begins to feel pressed. They start making mistakes, talking too much, reacting emotionally, confronting you unnecessarily. There was a man we attacked through his workplace. No shrine, no charm, just manipulation and delay. Then he began praying Psalm 35 every morning. Within days, the person behind the attack began to argue with him publicly, accuse him without proof, reveal jealousy. He didn't pray for exposure, but Psalm 35 provoked it. This psalm turns hidden hatred into visible hostility. Psalm 26, the psalm that separates you from the wicked. This psalm is subtle and lethal. Examine me, O Lord, and prove me. This psalm doesn't attack enemies first, it distinguishes you. And that is dangerous for witches hiding among righteous people. There was a church where 5 of us operated. No one suspected anything. Then one woman began praying Psalm 26 regularly. She didn't accuse, she didn't investigate, but suddenly invitations stopped, meetings changed, conversations felt uncomfortable. Within 3 months, all 5 of us had left her space, not because she confronted us, but because Psalm 26 made coexistence impossible. Psalm 27, the Psalm of light and dream revelation. This psalm brings clarity. The Lord is my light. Light is not noise. Light is information. When this psalm becomes active, faces appear in dreams. Repeated symbols point to one person. Confusion lifts. I remember one assignment where the victim kept dreaming of the same woman but ignored it. Then she added Psalm 27 to her prayers. The dreams intensified. Same woman, same setting, same expression. Eventually, real life confirmed it. Psalm 27 doesn't accuse, it reveals patterns. Psalm 91, the psalm that exposes night operations. Most witchcraft happens at night. Psalm 91 interferes with that. You shall not be afraid of the terror by night. When this psalm is active, attacks rebound, monitoring spirits fail, and the sender feels exposed. We hated assignments where the target slept under Psalm 91. Because once our operation failed repeatedly, attention turns to us. Exposure doesn't always come from the victim. Sometimes it comes from our own kingdom. Psalm 52, the psalm that publicly unmasks the evil worker. This psalm is terrifying for anyone pretending. Why do you boast in evil? This psalm doesn't just expose privately, it exposes publicly. People who pray this psalm often watch their attackers disgrace themselves, lose credibility, be laughed at. I have seen respected people collapse because of Psalm 52. Psalm 37, the psalm of delayed but certain exposure. This psalm explains something many don't understand. Do not fret because of evildoers. Exposure doesn't always come immediately. Sometimes God waits until the trap is complete, the evidence is full, the victim is mature. Psalm 37 teaches patience without panic. Why dreams become clear after these Psalms? Let me say this carefully. Dreams don't expose witches, light does. And Psalms are carriers of light. When light enters, darkness loses camouflage. Symbols sharpen. Repetition begins. That is why many people suddenly start seeing things after reading Psalms. It is not imagination, it is illumination. Not every dream means someone is bewitching you. But when attacks stop, confusion lifts, and one person keeps appearing, pay attention and don't confront prematurely. Let God complete the exposure. I didn't leave witchcraft because I wanted peace. I left because I realized something. When someone stands on scripture and not fear, and not emotion, and not suspicion, we cannot hide forever. This is why I am speaking now, because many of you are closer to exposure than you realize, and some people around you already know it. After I spoke about the Psalms, some people asked me privately why certain individuals were exposed without confrontation, without prophets, and without deliverance sessions. The truth is this: Psalms don't shout, they summon order. Let me tell you what I witnessed. There was a woman in her late 30s. She lived in Pretoria, quiet, prayerful, never accused anyone. But her life kept stalling. Marriage proposals collapsed. Jobs slipped away at the final stage. Peace left her home without explanation. She began reading Psalm 27 and Psalm 64 every night before sleeping. Nothing dramatic happened at first, but after 2 weeks, her dreams changed. She began to see herself standing in front of a mirror, but the reflection was not hers. The reflection belonged to another woman. At first, she dismissed it, but the dreams repeated. Same woman, same mirror, same silence. One evening during a family gathering, that same woman reacted violently to something small and suddenly confessed years of resentment. No altar was mentioned, no ritual spoken of, but the dreams stopped that very week. When exposure happens, peace returns quietly. There was a man who prayed Psalm 35 at work. This man was a project manager in Johannesburg. Everything was fine until suddenly his reports were questioned. His reputation shifted. Rumors followed him. He suspected nothing spiritual, but his mother advised him to read Psalm 35 every morning before work. Not prayer points, just the psalm. Within days, the person undermining him grew restless. Meetings became tense. Accusations were made openly. Eventually, the attacker exposed himself by trying to sabotage the wrong document. The company discovered a trail. The man never defended himself. Psalm 35 did the confrontation for him. There was a woman who could not be invited anymore. This one still disturbs me. A young woman prayed Psalm 26 for clarity, not exposure. She only wanted peace. But something strange happened. People around her began to feel uncomfortable without reason. Conversations shortened. Visits reduced. Certain people avoided her completely. She later realized every person who withdrew had once influenced her negatively. Psalm 26 does not accuse, it reorders proximity. There was a businessman targeted repeatedly at night. We monitored his sleep. Then suddenly our access closed. He had begun reading Psalm 91 aloud before bed, calmly, no shouting. That psalm created a boundary. After 3 failed nights, attention turned to the sender. Questions were asked. Pressure rose. The bewitcher panicked and exposed themselves through fear driven behavior. Psalm 91 doesn't chase witches, it removes cover. This one is delicate. A woman prayed Psalm 27 and Psalm 37 consistently, nothing else. She had a dream where a name was written on a wall. She didn't believe it, so she prayed again. The same name appeared. Weeks later, circumstances confirmed it, not through accusation, through confession. Light reveals without noise. This story is painful. A woman prayed Psalm 52 unknowingly. She was just tired. Within months, a respected person in her church began to unravel. Words failed them. Words failed them. Behavior changed. Authority slipped. Eventually, they left. Psalm 52 does not fight quietly. It removes false foundations. Let me say this clearly. Psalms don't expose people because you want revenge. They expose because truth cannot coexist with sustained darkness. When light enters consistently, masks crack, alliances weaken, lies collapse. That is why witches fear prolonged psalm reading. Don't rush exposure. Let God finish the process. Don't accuse prematurely. Psalms work best in silence. Consistency matters more than intensity. Pay attention to patterns, not emotions. When peace returns, stop searching. Prayers to pray alongside the Psalms. You don't need many words. Before reading any psalm, say, Lord, let your light speak for me. Expose what you must expose, and preserve me from error and accusation. After reading, say, I receive clarity, not confusion, peace, not fear, truth, not suspicion. Then sleep. Let light do its work. I am speaking now because I have seen it, not once, not twice, too many times to deny it. When someone stands quietly on the Psalms, we eventually have nowhere to hide. This is where I will stop because if you apply this patiently, you will not need another confession. Light will answer you.